Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to all of our witnesses. Thank you all for your participation today in this hearing, and I have had the opportunity to review your testimonies. And Ms. Neely, I was taken in your testimony that you mentioned a threat of foreign adversaries posed to our students. We know from reports from watchdog organizations like yours that foreign funding is an issue at the K-12 through 12 level and in higher education. Because of the lack of accountability and transparency, this is likely just the tip of the iceberg of what we know. For example, this committee worked with a select committee on the CCP and found that nearly 24 universities across the country had specialized joint research partnerships with China involving sensitive military technology. I'm particularly shocked by the lack of caution our schools have when partnering with our greatest foreign adversaries, such as the Chinese Communist Party. In fact, all of this led me to introduce the No Contracts with Foreign Adversaries Act, which would begin to tackle this problem at the collegiate level by requiring institutions to disclose contracts with China, North Korea, Russia, and Iran. But my question to you, Mrs. Neely, is can you just elaborate what harm does the take money first and ask questions later approach have for our students as well as for our national security?
Unfortunately, I think most school districts are not aware of the threat that is posed. In Fairfax, the Thomas Jefferson School for Science and Technology, formerly America's #1 magnet school, partnered with Tsinghua University High School, which is, that partners with Tsinghua University, a Chinese military school that is supervised by the Chinese defense industry, according to the Australian Security Policy Studies. The Simpson County Board of Education in Kentucky entered into an agreement with the North China Electric Power University, which works directly with the Chinese government's energy sector to push China's global energy initiatives as part of its Belt and Road Initiative. These are things that local school boards and school districts are not aware of whatsoever. Oftentimes, this is secure or classified information that these kinds of things are taking place. And so for us to open our doors and open our databases to these foreign adversaries is something that I think is appalling and that really needs federal intervention. So thank you for your work.
Well, and thank you for your work and for, again, bringing this information forward, because I think it's going to be absolutely critical in protecting our national security as well as our students going forward. Switching gears just a little bit, in the public school system, Ms. Neely, this again is to you, who currently has more influence over a child's intellectual development, parents or bureaucrats?
Unfortunately, it seems to be bureaucrats at this moment in time. When you have school officials that are telling children that their parents' love is conditional, that their parents might not love them because of their religion or their politics, that really throws up a wall that, unfortunately, is going to create lasting damage much beyond a child's graduation from high school. And so, while parents often, I talk to them and they say they have to deprogram their kids from what happens in school, there is both the pressure of trying to conform to and please an authority figure like a teacher or a principal, as well as the peer pressure because everyone else around them is also getting inculcated with the same materials.
Well, I think and as a follow-up to that, I think your point is well taken. Is a federal system of supporting education really structured to empower parents, or is it set up more to empower school systems themselves?
Right. I mean, I think, looking at the influence that the teachers' union leadership has had over the federal government over the past several years is something that I know is likely to taper off over the next coming years, and I think American families are excited about that.
Well, and I'd like to give you a moment just to discuss any examples you've seen of parental rights being trampled on at the expense of the woke gender movement that I think all of us in the country have been aware of.
I think in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, they had a sign up, and they also had teacher training materials that said, the right to know a child's gender identity is something that must be earned. I mean, the idea that I have to earn information about my child is something that's appalling. We've watched districts weaponize FERPA, the Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act, saying that children have a right to privacy from their parents. That was not the original intent of the law, and to watch local officials take and bastardize something that was intended to be both a sword and a shield for families is something, again, that is a deep slap in the face. There are federal statutes in place, be it the PPRA, where that governs the amount of information and what can be, what questions informations districts can collect from students. Oftentimes, school officials don't even know that there are things where if they're asking students about sexuality, about drug use, about politics, that they have to notify parents and give families an opportunity to opt out. That's because school officials are not learning what their obligations are under the law. When they learn from their school associations, when they learn from the superintendent association, the principals association, they're learning about woke topics instead of learning about their actual responsibilities.
Well, thank you so much. And I would say, I mean, you've been a wealth of information this morning, and to all of you on the panel, we appreciate, again, your service and the information that you've made us aware of today. And Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back my time.
Thank you. And I would like